Hello scrappy friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a walkthrough of my Traveler's Notebook spread using the Journals for Life kit, the book pages for October kit. What I'm showing here is this adorable embellishment. I want to say it's made out of clay. I'm not 100% sure about that. But it's an add-on for this month's kit, and when I saw it, I had to have it because, well, it's a hedgehog if you weren't sure, but we had just adopted a hedgehog about 4 to 6 weeks prior to me seeing this hedgehog in the store. So I was like, I have to have this. So you can see a little picture up in the corner of our hedgehog Nutmeg. So for this spread, what I wanted to do was I picked the brick, kind of neutral gray brick print that was pre-printed in the book. I liked that because I felt the hedgehog embellishment, which was kind of the star of the show, really popped on that neutral background. Because it was so neutral, I wanted the other side to have some color and some interest. So I took 2 of the add-on papers, which are now double-sided, so that's really cool. But I took these more neutral, or not neutral, but like plain papers, the pink and then the polka dot, ripped off about 1.5 inches on the pink and about 1/2 inch on the polka dot, and layered them on the left side to just have some interest and color to that side of the page. I then printed off 3 photos of our hedgehog. They were, I believe, 2.5 by 2 inches. Is that right? Yeah, 2.5 by 2 inches, so I could get 3 up and down on the page. And what I love about, these were 3 of my favorite photos. One, she's all curled up in a ball, which I love. And at the bottom one, if you can zoom in, you can see her little teeth showing, and it's just adorable. I love it. So this is basically my son's hedgehog, although as mom, I get to fill in any gaps of the care process. So I have a picture of him playing with her. But I am using the Life Grid stamp set right here to stamp a spot for my journaling. And I had just wiped off some of the excess ink that had got onto the stamp block because I didn't want to accidentally get some smudges on my paper. So that came out great. I love that. And it's a great size block for journaling in a traveler's notebook. So this is something that I really like using. So I am also using one of the alphabet stamp sets in the shop to stamp out the hedgehog's name, which is Nutmeg, and that's going to be the title for my spread. I had laid out the acrylic stamps across the page to make sure it would fit before I started stamping, and it's going to be a tight fit, but it actually ends up fitting just perfectly. I do overlap some of the alphas just slightly, but it's still extremely readable. And so this was important to kind of lay it out first so I sort of knew where to put some of the placement. I ended up doing the right and the left letters first, and then also the largest M, because it's the widest. It's technically not, I didn't do the middle letter because that was going to be a T, which is not as wide as the M, so I did the M first. And then I'm just filling in the holes. Actually, now that I'm looking at this on replay, I don't think I had to overlap the letters as much as I had originally thought I was going to. The E's a little bit, but barely at all. So that was great. I loved that. And this is a really fun lowercase stamp set that you can find in the shop. So I had known from the beginning I wanted this brownish, orangey colored hedgehog in the bottom right corner of my page. I think it just really shows her off, and I love that this embellishment has a little red rose in her hair. I guess it's not really hair, but spikes, but it's adorable. And then I love these fall colored flowers on the sticker sheet. I thought they worked really well to be to give a visual triangle for my embellishment clusters. So right now what I'm doing, I decided instead of just using a tape runner to hold down this embellishment, it's a little bit heavier and thicker, so I decided to use some double-sided tape. I felt that over time that was really going to hold down better. I think with rolling adhesive it probably would have come off at some point. So this should hold pretty well, and I always have trouble getting the back side off. So we've got that down, and now what I'm going to end up doing is just working on building my cluster. So I'm going through the embellishment pack, seeing what works. I don't want anything too big. I love those little books, but we're going to use that on a different spread. And I want something small, like leaves would have been great, but these leaves were just too big. So you'll see later, so I'm looking at the sticker sheet and I love the size of the leaves on the flowers in this sticker sheet. The ones in the embellishment pack were just too big for this spread. So I'm trying to see if I can put another flower with the smaller leaves in my cluster, and I end up deciding that just 2 flowers is more than I want, but I do really want those leaves. So you'll see later what I end up doing, oh right here, is I end up just cutting off the leaves that I want. I'm just going to make the pieces work for my spread, and I just pick up my little maroon colored flower and tuck in some leaves. And it looks like it totally goes together, like it was a sticker that came this way. I'll end up using the blue flower in another way because it also is in perfect shape, and it's more of a bud or opening flower, and I'll use that on a different spread somewhere else. So it takes me a little bit of time to get this positioned exactly the way I want because of the cut edge. I want it to be covered so you can't tell that it's been cut, and I finally get that down. I added some of the glasses up at the top cluster, and I'm adding a little coffee cup here. It's not so much that the reading glasses or the coffee go with the theme of the spread, and I think that's totally okay. What I'm really looking for is color. I wanted a little pop of blue, which I get in the coffee cup handle, to match the blue flower over by the hedgehog embellishment. And then up at the top I've got kind of a maroony red color glasses, and so it gives me the colors that I need in the clusters. So now I'm pulling out the sequins, which were also an add-on for this month's kit. They are a gorgeous blue, orange, that match the colors in the kit. There are these flowers, you can see an orange one down at the bottom that has a shine, like a holographic shine to it. It's absolutely stunning in color. And in addition to sequins, there are some little buttons, tiny, tiny little buttons that are about the same size, actually a little smaller than the sequins. So I'm mixing between the buttons, the sequins, and these flowers. And I'm just going to glue those down in the clusters to give some sparkle and make my clusters bigger, and just add more color too to each of the clusters. So I'm just putting all my sequins away because otherwise they will get thrown all over my room and on my floor, and then I'll be picking them up forever. So now I'm just taking my Bearly Art glue and a jewel picker and gluing the sequins down. I tend to have an issue with, I don't want to use so much glue that it seeps out the bottom and makes kind of like a gloppy mess, versus not using enough, and you notice I tend to not use enough and then it pops back up. So I've got to get a balance of just the right amount of glue so it sticks but doesn't like glop out. And so I love this jewel picker that I have too. This is perfect for sequins. It can be a little tricky to put the sequins down with your fingers. So now right now I'm working on the glitter or the sequin flower, and it has a very small point at the bottom because it's kind of like a concave shape. So what I end up doing is pulling out my glue dots. The glue just wasn't sticking, and so I'm going back and forth between some larger glue dots and some smaller glue dots. I think I end up finding the smaller ones work better. But I end up using a glue dot to stick that down, and it ends up working good. A little bit later, I am going to decide I need another one of those sequin flowers. And this one is an orange one, and I end up picking a kind of a clear colored one just to add to my cluster. And I really like how it turns out. So bear with me while I just hold it down to make sure it sticks. We're going to get those last sequins on. And now I'm just making sure everything is stuck down. I ended up having this extra sequin, and I couldn't remember if I had meant to have it out or if it fell out. So I'm just working to see, does it work? And I think I ultimately end up putting it down. There's also, in addition, I'm calling them sequins. They're almost like little bulbs. There's sequins, buttons, and then kind of a round bulb shape in the sequin pack. And I love all those. So there I'm finding, I want another flower there, and I tried another orange. I thought it was a little too bright, and I like this more clear one. You barely can see it, and that actually is kind of what I wanted. I wanted just a little something. Now I've got a cluster of 3 flowers, 2 of them sequins, 1 of them the big blue. I'm moving it around just to see if I really like it all kind of clustered together, and I end up putting them back to where I had them originally, but I'm just trying things out to see what looks best. So I think off camera I'm getting some more glue dots. I added a little bit of glue to the bottom of the glue dot just because I wanted to make sure these are going to stick. Since it is an open page book, I just want to make sure things stick and they don't get messed up later. So I'm showing there the embellishment, the hedgehog embellishment was a little thick, and it did add a little bit of bulk to my traveler's notebook, but in the end I think it's not that bad. And I just adore it. I think it would be cute even if you don't have a hedgehog. It's just such a cute little piece. And it was very economical in the shop, so it would be a great add-on. So now I'm just doing my journaling about how we adopted this little hedgehog, and my son had been begging for one for a while, and I kept saying no, but I finally caved in to him. We now have 3 animals in our house, a dog, a hedgehog, and a tortoise. So come visit our zoo anytime. So I'm finishing this up. I'm adding my date, and I think this finishes my spread. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.